Hey, what's up you guys, and welcome back to my channel. So, as you all know, Valentine's Day is creeping up on us very soon. Whether you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend or you are just completely single, all is well. I'm going to be showing you a makeup tutorial today that I came up with yesterday. If you want to go out, either you're going on a date or you're just treating yourself to the night, this would be a really pretty makeup look to do. It involves a little hint of pink, not too much, but it's a little more glam than what you would do on a typical date night. So if you want to see how I achieve a very beautiful Valentine's Day look, then let's get on into the video. Alrighty, so first I'm going to start out on my primer, my foundation, and powder, and then I'll do my brows, so it's a little bit different of what I would normally do. I'm kind of switching things up and seeing how I like them. First, for primer, I'm going to use the Catrice Light Correcting Serum Primer in the shade Candlelight. This is a really, really pretty primer if you want to have something a little more luminous to your face. That's like what I envision when I want to be like flawless and be like, oh wow, you look really gorgeous. I want to be like luminous and like dewy looking, you know what I'm saying? So Catrice is a very, very affordable brand. You can get this at Ulta, and they have another shade in this, but this is really good for like lighter skin tones and things like that. So you need to shake it up pretty well, and then it comes in like a dropper, and I'm just gonna put about that much on my hands and work this into my face. It also, to me, it smells really good. Okay, and it's got a slight tackiness to it too, so that's nice. Do you see the luminous glow it just gives you? It's so pretty. Then, just to fill in those nasty little pores, I'm going to use the Soap & Glory One Heck of a Blot Primer. I've used this before. Again, you can get this at Ulta. And I'm just going to apply this to my problem areas, which is right here on my cheeks and my forehead. Now, I will say this one is not as good as the Benefit Professional, but it is a lot cheaper. Then, for foundation, I'm going to use my tried and true NARS Natural Radiant Longwear Foundation. Mine's in the shade Fiji, and this is just the most gorgeous, full coverage, luminous foundation. I mean, it is just everything. It's a little on the pricey side, but it's bougie, and it makes you look bougie. So the pump does not give you too much product, so I typically like to start out with 3 pumps, dot it on my face. I like to use the dotting method, like what I'm doing right now, because I know that I'm not putting too much foundation on my face. I know exactly how much I'm putting instead of like doing a dip, dipping it in there and putting it in one spot. You're spreading it around evenly, and it typically all comes out even, so you don't have to use any more product than you already have. I'm going to take my Morphe sponge and just blend that in. This foundation is really full coverage, but I'm going to have to put a little bit more on those little spots right there. A little bit goes a long way, and it has a very radiant finish. Make sure that you always get those ears, because you don't want your ears to be a different color than your face, because that's just a dead giveaway. I'm just going to go in with one more pump and put it in the areas where I just need a little bit more coverage, which is usually like my nose and places that I have a few blemishes and my chin. What are your guys' recommendations for what to do on Valentine's Day? I know typically going to eat is like the thing, and it's pretty much all we can do here. Me and my boyfriend have not made plans for Valentine's Day yet. Typically, we never actually celebrate on Valentine's Day because we're never together on Valentine's Day. Usually I'm at school and we're in 2 different cities. Now he has a job that he works late usually, so we shall see what happens. But let me know like what you guys are doing, if you have plans, if your plans are just ordering in takeout and watching a movie. That was me for many years of my life. Now I'm gonna go in and use the Flower Beauty Concealer. This is the Light Illusions Concealer. You can get this at Walmart. So I'm just gonna put this as coverage under my eyes. Then to just brighten up my eye area, I'm gonna use the ColourPop No Filter Concealer in the shade Light 10. And I'm just gonna put that right here in the inner corners of my eyes. And that is the only place that I'm gonna place that. Oh, I love this concealer so much. If you want like a very dewy, full coverage, like medium to full coverage concealer, I really recommend the Flower Beauty from Walmart. It's so, so good. Then I'm gonna go in with my Morphe M438 brush, and I'm gonna hop into the Wet n Wild bronzer in the shade Reserve Your Cabana. I don't see this ever being a bronzer on any kind of skin tone, so I use this to set my under eyes, and it's super, super pretty and super, super affordable. And it has like a slight, like very like minuscule sheen to the powder, so it gives your under eyes like a hydrated look rather than like when you set with a matte powder and it looks a little dry under there. This one is really good for making it look pretty hydrated looking, if I do say so myself. Then I'm gonna blend out my lid area just to get rid of that creasing and put some on there as well. Then with my Morphe Y2 brush, this is a new powder that I have fallen in love with. Oh my gosh, it is so good. It's the Collab Set the Stage Ultra Fine Loose Setting Powder. I use the shade Ivory Sand. There are some much lighter shades than this, and there's another kind of packaging that comes in a white cap, and it's like the translucent shades. But this is just so good, and I have seen a lot of people talk about this, and it's really, really good. And it's not super, super cheap, but it's pretty affordable. You can get this at Sally's Beauty. I know, random, but they only carry Collab at Sally's Beauty. So now, since my face looks pretty powdery, I kind of want that powder to look like it is just one with my skin. So I'm going to use the Morphe Continuous Setting Mist and just spray my face before I do anything else to it. And this will just help to make the powder just sink into the skin and it just looks like your skin. Instead of seeing the powder on top of your skin, it's just going to melt it right in. Now that you can clearly tell my hair is wet, yeah, make sure your hair's back when you do this because your hair is gonna get wet. What are these hairs doing? I just love when I have little baby hairs just hanging right there in the middle of my forehead. That is so, I love that. I just love it. All right, for brows, I'm gonna use my e.l.f. This is the Ultra Precise Brow in the shade Neutral Brown. I'm pretty sure this is the darkest shade in this line. Don't get the shade Brunette and Neutral Brown confused. Brunette is lighter than this. So just to make sure that the brow hairs stay in place, I'm going to use the Catrice Cosmetics Eyebrow Filler. And I'm just going to place this right along my brow hairs just to give it a little bit more color as well as just keeping them in place. I've gotten to where I love using an eyebrow filler just to finish off the job, make it look a little bit more natural in my opinion. It kind of covers up all of the waxiness that the brow pencil gives, and it separates the brow hairs after you fill it in with a pencil. Now moving on to the eyes today, I'm going to use the Tarte Tartelette in Bloom palette. This has been one of my favorite palettes to use. I use this in pretty much every wedding that I'm in, and it just looks like this. It's got some really gorgeous shades in there. It's got some really gorgeous neutrals, but it has like more of a pink tone to it, so that's why I'm using it today. I'm just gonna take the shade Smarty Pants and buff this into my crease. Forgot to shape out my shadows. I'm gonna use the ColourPop No Filter setting powder with my Morphe sponge on the like rectangle edge and just shape out that line, make it give a cat eye effect, and when you go in after your eyeshadow, you just wipe it away and there's a perfect line there, but it's not like so harsh as when you would put tape on it. It just gives it a nice little shape. So I like this little method. And you can go in like a few different times and like redo that line if you need to. Then I'm going to use the shade Sweetheart. There's just a little light pink shift to it. You can barely tell that I'm putting anything on there, but I promise this eye and this eye, like let me just get done with this one and you'll be able to see like the pink shift that's in it. Like, do you see the difference in this eye and this eye? It just gives a slight pink shift to it. Then using a more flat, precise brush, I'm going to use the shade Rebel and just pop that right on the outer part of my eye. I'm not going to bring it up into my crease. I'm just going to leave it right here on the outer part, kind of swing it out. Now to bring this whole look together, I'm going to use the Stila Shimmer and Glow Liquid Eyeshadow in the shade Kitten. I hauled this in my recent Ulta haul. If you haven't checked that video out, I will link it down below. And this is not, it doesn't have any glitter in it. It just gives a beautiful shine. So I'm just going to add that to the inner part of my lid and bring it out and kind of stop it towards the end of the lid. And they don't crease. It barely takes any time for the eyeshadow to dry. Alright, then I'm gonna let that dry before I blend everything out. Then I'm gonna take like a rounded brush like this and just go back into the shade Rebel and merge those two shades together right here, just to make them one with each other. Then I'm just gonna wipe all of that powder away, and it just leaves, see how it just leaves a beautiful line. So if you don't want to use like tape, or if you want to do your foundation before your eyeshadow and you can't use a makeup remover wipe, this is a really great method to use. Then using a more flat brush, I'm going to use the shade Smoke Show and just kind of bring this all along my upper lash line instead of using liquid eyeliner. This just gives it more of a natural look, and instead of like a super straight line. And this also just is a method to use to hide your, if you're using false lashes, this will hide the lash line. Then for lashes, I'm going to use the Ardell Foaming Wispy Lashes, and these are what they look like. They have wispies and then they have the foaming wispies, and these are just like more of a natural hair look. So I'm gonna pop these on and I'll be right back. Alrighty, now that the lashes are on, these are a very natural looking pair, so this would be great for Valentine's Day or any date night where you don't want to look like you are too much like you're going to the club or something, you're just going to eat. This is a really good lash to wear. You can get these at Walmart, at Walgreens, whatever. I'm sure you can get them at Sally's Beauty. So now that those are on, I'm going to go back into my Tartelette Bloom palette, and using a round brush, I'm going to dip into the shade Smarty Pants and bring that under my eye. Alright, using the same brush, I'm going to dip into Rebel and buff that under my eye as well. Then using a more tinier rounded brush, I'm going to go into Smoke Show and just place that right on the outer corner of my lower lash line just to give a little dimension. Then using my favorite little trick, I'm going to pop some white liner into my waterline. This could be any kind of white eyeliner, any one of them will do. You can use white, but if you don't want to use white, you can use a really light nude shade, whatever you want. Then for contour, I'm going to use actually my e.l.f. bronzer quad in the shade Warm. I really like to use this to contour my face because it's not too harsh and you just mix all of the shades together and it just gives you a really gorgeous contour. So this is what I'm going to be using today. Just swirl it around. Bringing just a little bit of that on my nose, and then I'll buff it out so it's not too harsh. And I'm not making this like a super precise contour on my nose. I'm just giving some color to it. Also underneath the lip, bottom lip, this will give it more of a pouty effect. Make it look like you have a little bit bigger of a bottom lip. Little trick for you. And I'm just going to take my brush and diffuse a little bit of the harshness that I just put on my nose. And it will just blend. Don't swipe because then you'll take off some of the powder. Just lightly pounce on it. Then for bronzer, I'm going to use the Milani Baked Bronzer in the shade Glow. This is one of my favorite bronzers for when I want it to look a little more natural and have a little bit of sheen to it. This one's got, I don't know if you can tell, it's got a little bit of some gold sparkle in it, but it doesn't transfer onto the face. So I'm going to put a pretty generous amount on. A little bit of this on my neck just to give the neck a little bit of color. Then going back into the ColourPop powder and using my Morphe brush, I'm just going to dip it in and kind of carve out where my contour is just to clean up that line so it's not so messy. I really don't let it sit there too long because I don't want it to really bake and have like a white cast. So I pretty much immediately wipe it away. Then for blush, I'm going to use the Milani Romantic Rose blush, and this is one of my favorite blushes because it's just so beautiful. It just gives a nice flush to your skin. It's nothing too harsh. It just gives you a beautiful flush. It just makes you look like you have some life, you know what I'm saying? So I'm just going to get a really good amount because this is not very pigmented. So you want to pick up a good amount and just pop it on to the cheekbone area. Also swirl it over your nose so you look like you got some color to your face. I know a lot of people don't love blush, but I'm gonna tell you, it makes you look alive. It makes you not look as flat and dead. It just brings color to your face, and if you do ever do it, you can go back in with some powder, put it on top of there, and it'll just take some of the color away. You can also go in with a brush that has no additional product on there, like say I go back in with my brush that I have used for powder, I can just go right over it and it'll just take some of the color away. It's a little trick for you if you use a little too much blush. Then for highlight, this is a staple in my collection. This is the Balm Mary Lou Manizer. I really don't know what that is, but this is a highlight and this is super gorgeous. You can get this from, I'm pretty sure you can get this from Target. Can't remember, I just ordered mine online, but it looks like that. It doesn't come off as like it's gonna look super duper pigmented, but if you can see it is so gorgeous. I would personally love to use this on a bride because it's just so beautiful and it's so like it's not chalky or anything. It just gives a nice glow to the skin. So I'm going to use this one today. Just get a good amount of that on my brush and just let the magic happen. It's not gold, but yet it's not stark white. It's just right in between, and this can literally work on any skin tone. So that's why I think it would be perfect for brides, because it's just so beautiful on the skin. It's not too much, just when the light hits it, and when you look at the front, you don't see like a streak on the side of my face. So it's really pretty. Then I'm going to take that same highlighter and place it right under my brow bone and highlight right under there, as well as the inner corner of my eyes. For lip liner, I'm going to use the Palladio lip liner in the shade Gingerbread. This has been one of my go-tos lately. I got mine from Sally's Beauty. It gives such a gorgeous nude color. It's not too bright nude and it's not too dark to where it's like a little too much. It's just so pretty. Then for liquid lipstick, I'm going to use one of my favorites. You definitely don't have to use liquid lipsticks if you don't like the drying formula that it gives you. If you want to use lipstick, that's perfectly fine, but just in my experience, when I go out to eat for Valentine's Day or for a day night or whatever, when I just wear a regular lipstick and I go to eat, it comes right off and it just looks kind of gross at the end of the night. I usually tend to use a very long-lasting liquid lipstick, and this is one of them. This is the Liquid Lipstick by Anastasia of Beverly Hills in the shade Stripped. I actually got mine from Marshall's a while back. It really just depends on which Marshalls that you go to, if they'll have them or not, but I'm going to use this on my lips today. Then to finish off the look, I'm going to go back in with my Morphe setting spray and we will be done. Alright you guys, and this is the final look. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope this gave you a little bit of an idea of what to use, what products to use on Valentine's Day with your special someone, or just by yourself and you want to get clam and sit on the couch and eat Chinese. I feel you. Please do make sure to give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button and the notification bell next to it so that you will be notified when I upload my next video. And until then, I hope you guys have a great rest of the day and a great rest of the week, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.